I have a question for you. What would you do if you walked into a dark room in your house or apartment? You turn on the light switch, of course. Unfortunately, for many people trying to lose weight, they're fumbling around in the dark and they can't find that light switch. Or even worse, they don't know that there is a light switch. This is a big problem because obesity is a big problem. As recent statistics show for North America and Canada, obesity levels are at an all-time high. And I'm not just talking about the West, even though the problem primarily started in the West, with North Americans and Europeans eating a standard American diet who are becoming obese. This problem is spread everywhere. Now it's Asians, Africans, everyone. Obesity transcends cultures, it transcends countries, and it transcends age. So what do we do about this? How do we, as individuals, ensure that we don't get added to or continue to be a part of these terrible statistics? How do we ensure that we look great and feel even better? Now, this is a complicated question. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that I have all the answers, because I don't. But what I do have is my own story, where many, many years ago, at the tender age of 37, I was a dad with one kid, working full-time in corporate America as an internal auditor and certified public accountant, and I lost 65 pounds. Unfortunately, I gained it all back, and a couple extra pounds for good measure. Fast forward several years ago, I'm now 45. So I got 2 kids, and now I'm managing a team of auditors, still working full-time in corporate America. This time, when I transform, I lose 40 pounds of fat, and I gain 30 pounds of muscle, and I stay transformed. Now, the scale only moved 10 pounds, but as you can see from the picture here, I look dramatically different. How did I do this? I did this by following a tried and tested formula, one that anybody can do, regardless of their age or their sex. And as I stand here today in front of you, I'm now 49, and I look as good as I ever have, and I feel even better. Now, there are some hard things I had to find out and figure out to get here. 2 of them were there are 2 things that I believed, that I thought were true, turned out to be myths. And perhaps you might think they're true as well. And there were 2 actions that I was not taking that was also holding me back. And perhaps you might not be taking them either. So let's start with these 2 myths. Myth number 1. The reason we can't lose weight and keep it off is either we're lazy or we're secretly eating a lot of food. This is not the case. The real reason we can't lose weight and keep it off, the root cause of the problem, is ignorance and arrogance. Yes, you did hear right. I did just say ignorance and arrogance. 2 topics I'm going to get into a little bit more later on. Myth number 2, that early onset aging is somehow the norm. Chronic low back pain, chronic knee pain, skin problems, scalp problems, not being able to walk up a flight of stairs without being out of breath in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. This is viewed as normal, but it's not normal. At least it shouldn't be normal. It wasn't normal for your grandparents or your great-grandparents when they were younger. And I should know, I suffered with all these problems for many, many years. The fact is, in the 21st century, especially in the West, these things are so prevalent that we've normalized them, even though they shouldn't be normalized. But it's actually the unhealthy choices that we make that lead to unhealthy lifestyles. And these unhealthy lifestyles are fueled by ignorance and arrogance. The fact is, we can't do it on our own. Why? Because we lack the sufficient knowledge, which is the ignorance. But we think we can do it on our own, which is the arrogance. Now that we've dispelled these 2 myths, and identify the root cause of the problem is ignorance and arrogance, what do we do about this? It's where those two actions come into play. The first one, this is the most important, is you got to admit you don't know what the heck you're doing. This is difficult, I know, but this is the most crucial thing. The second thing you have to do is admit you need professional help. If you want to transform and stay transformed, so this is permanent, you need a coach, a professional who knows what they're doing. Think about this. Throughout most of your lives, we've all learned things from teachers, friends, family members, work colleagues. Let's look at a few practical examples. Would you read a few books about the law and then go to court to represent yourself if you're being sued? Or would you watch a few videos about flying a plane and then try to fly a real plane? You wouldn't do that. At least I hope you wouldn't do that. The reality is, in these situations, you'd consult with an expert who has the experience and the expertise to help you achieve the goals you want to achieve. Now, I must confess that this was very difficult for me to admit to myself, to first identify and then admit to my own ignorance and arrogance. You see, at that point in time, I'd already spent over 3,000 hours learning about health, fitness, and nutrition. Why did I do this? Because as an internal auditor, I'm used to searching for answers to questions, providing solutions to problems. And I was frustrated. Why couldn't I just lose the weight and keep it off? But after spending all that time, I had to admit that I couldn't permanently transform myself. And then by pure luck, I stumbled upon the answer. I had just moved from Michigan to South Florida, and being originally from Jamaica, I of course had to go to the beach to hang out, where everybody I saw there was slimmer and fitter than me. And at least in my own eyes, they looked better than me as well. So I did what most people do in a situation like this. I hit the gym, where unbeknownst to me, I was about to have a life-changing experience by meeting my soon-to-be coach. At the time, I didn't even know I needed a coach. That was my ignorance and arrogance. Now, my coach turned out to be a female IFBB pro. IFBB stands for International Federation of Bodybuilders, and she competed in the bikini model category. This means that on one hand, she was pretty strong. She could leg press 600 pounds. And on the other hand, she was drop dead gorgeous. Think magazine cover pretty. Now that was certainly different. But to be honest, everything about her approach was different. She didn't just focus on the workouts, the typical bodybuilder stuff. She focused on my nutrition and how I could make permanent lifestyle changes. She paid attention to my specific needs, my specific weaknesses, my specific strengths, and my specific goals, all the while holding me accountable, which is very difficult to do by yourself. So to Ali, wherever you are, I'd like to say thank you for changing my life. 3,000 hours. When I compare that to what my coach did for me, the crucial difference is she gave me a personalized program, one that was tailored just for me. It's like going to a doctor when you're sick. The doctor diagnoses your symptoms and prescribes medication. That medication is tailored just for you. When you go to the pharmacy, they'll only give you that medicine. They're not going to give it to anybody else. It's the same way my coach provided a personalized program that was tailored just for me. And that was the crucial difference between that and all the other times when I tried to do it on my own by Googling something. Now, I'm not going to stand here today and tell you that this was easy, because it wasn't. It took me almost 2 years to make this lifestyle change. For the habits and routines to become second nature, be totally ingrained in myself. But nothing worth doing is ever easy, right? The same way I was helped, I now help friends all over the world who are fumbling around in the dark the way I was to lose weight by finding their light switch, so they too can look great and feel even better. I'm particularly proud of one friend who I helped to lose and keep off almost 60 pounds. But it wasn't just the fact that her skin got better, or her hair got better, or that she lost the weight. It was that her mental well-being got better. Because when you look great and feel even better, it's not just from your neck on down to your feet, but it's also up here with your mental well-being and your emotional well-being. In the immortal words of the late great Bob Marley, emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Ignorance and arrogance. You don't know what you don't know. And even worse, some of the things you think are true just ain't so. If you only take away one thing from listening to me speak with you here today, I hope it is this: that you realize that it's the people. It's not the weight loss supplements, not the books, it's not the videos, it's the people. The people, the professionals that have the experience and the expertise. These are the ones that have the power to transform you permanently so that you too can look great and feel even better. Thank you.